This is your official, full honest review and report card grade for WWE TLC 2020 right here on the JBSN Media Network YouTube channel. Jeff here with you. Let's get right into it. It took place on Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg, Florida at the Thunderdome. They had one match on the kickoff. This was announced a few hours before the show. 8-man tag team action here. We had Chad Gable, Otis, Daniel Bryan, and Big E teaming up to take on Intercontinental Champion Sami Zayn, Baron Corbin, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Cesaro here. Most of the match saw the heels work over Daniel Bryan here. They isolated him to their half of the ring. They worked him over for a while. After the babyfaces got the initial jump, Bryan finally gets the hot tag. The babyfaces make the comeback for a while. We get to one point late where Otis is in the ring. He hits the Caterpillar, and Chad Gable wants the tag. He is really asking for Otis to make the tag. He does, and then Gable gets caught, but ultimately Gable was able to fight out late. And he got the hot tag into Big E, and it ultimately winds up being Big E and Sami Zayn in the end once all the others are pretty much eliminated out of the ring. Big E finally goes to work on Sami Zayn and finally catches up to him and ultimately won in the end with the big ending. He pinned Sami Zayn here, so the babyfaces got the win, as I expected they would. It went 8 minutes and 44 seconds. I gave the match a C+. I thought the match overall was very paint by numbers here, very basic stuff here, nothing really extraordinary in the match. With Big E pinning Sami Zayn in a backstage segment that they would do later on, it was announced that Big E will be challenging for the Intercontinental title against Sami Zayn on SmackDown Christmas night, which they're actually going to tape on Tuesday. So we know SmackDown is going to be a tape show this week, so that match will be happening. And I do think they're going to pull the trigger and have Big E beat Sami Zayn to become the Intercontinental Champion. Now, what I had pitched on social media was a match between Sami Zayn and Daniel Bryan on the main card. I think that would have been a better play here, and you could have moved. I thought maybe they would move the Raw Tag Team Title match to the kickoff, but they didn't do that here. So I would have preferred Daniel Bryan and Sami Zayn one-on-one, but we get this 8-man tag team match to get as many guys on to the show as they could. So they did. C+, pretty much basic stuff here. Nothing really extraordinary about the match. They opened the main portion of TLC with the first of the two TLC matches. This was the WWE title match here from Monday Night Raw. We had Drew McIntyre as the champion taking on AJ Styles with Doorman Jordan Omis. I thought, I knew going in this was going to be a very good match. You had two very good workers here. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this was the first encounter that these two had against one another here. So, very good stuff here. Drew dominated early with early offense. AJ was able to recover. He really works over McIntyre's knee and leg for a while. This was a follow-up to what had happened on Monday Night Raw. Of course, most of you probably didn't see because of the low ratings, but at certain points here, AJ Styles was using the chair and ladder to work over Drew McIntyre throughout the middle of the match. He used the calf crusher with the assistance of a chair and ladder at one point. Of course, this was no submissions, no disqualifications, no countouts, no pinfalls. So you had to climb the ladders here to get to the title. So as the match goes on here, both guys wind up getting down. We see The Miz and Morrison come in here. The Miz does cash in the Money in the Bank briefcase. It becomes a triple threat match here, triple threat TLC match. So The Miz officially cashed in here. They teased so many times that maybe he's going to get it. They did a lot of teases with everyone having a chance here. Ultimately, McIntyre was able to knock off Miz and AJ, who were fighting on top of the ladder at one point. And ultimately, we saw Drew McIntyre go up and get the title at 27 minutes and won the match here. So that was the big finish here. We actually saw Doorman Jordan Omis here. He actually got involved a little bit. It looked like when The Miz had initially come out to cash in, looked like he was just going to go right up the ladder and win. He actually went into the ring and grabbed The Miz and, very gently, very lightly, not even very hard at all. He just gently put him on the apron and then just shoved him through a table so gently. So probably the softest table bump you would ever see in professional wrestling. I guess that's why Doorman Jordan here, Omis, is going back to the PC to get refinement and training. So, and basically he went, and then eventually he chased off Morrison, so both of those guys were not seen the rest of the way. But Drew McIntyre ultimately did win in 27 minutes. He was my pick to retain here. There was no question. I think pretty much everyone assumed that McIntyre was retaining here. 27 minutes, he got the win. I thought overall with Drew McIntyre and AJ Styles, it was a very good match. I gave it a B. This was very good. The outcome was never in doubt here, but I thought these guys told a great show. told a great story. AJ Styles had a great showing here. Came close several times. They did the teases, but McIntyre retaining was the correct decision. Next match was the WWE SmackDown Women's title match. Here we had Sasha Banks defending the SmackDown Women's title against Carmella, of course, with her champagne guy Reginald or Reggie out there. And there was a spot early in the match here. I guess Sasha Banks had negotiated Carmella to the outside. It looked like Carmella was going to land very badly on the outside, but to the credit of Reggie here, or Reginald, the champagne guy, he managed to catch Carmella and save her from what could have been something really bad. So that was a good job on his part. So as the match goes on here, we see Sasha Banks. She hit the three amigos here, the back-to-back-to-back vertical suplexes. She hit a frog splash in honor of the late Eddie Guerrero, someone that she really admires. Carmella actually wound up kicking out of that. And at one point, Carmella had hit the X Factor on Sasha, but Sasha kicked out. And then we saw Sasha actually go for the bank statement at one point, but when we saw champagne guy Reggie actually go into the ring and pull Carmella out, and the referee sees this and doesn't disqualify because Reggie didn't lay a hand on Sasha, he just pulled Carmella out of the ring. Though that could have been a disqualification. Ultimately, in the end, after some more back and forth and some more teases here, ultimately Sasha Banks does trap Carmella into the bank statement, and she does tap out this time at 12 minutes and 41 seconds. Sasha Banks won and retained the SmackDown Women's title, as I predicted she would, and I think everyone else as well here. Overall, I thought this was a good match. I gave it a B. It was not bad. I thought for Carmella, this was one of her best showings in quite a long while here. And that's, I think, a credit to Sasha Banks as well here. She really made Carmella look like $1 million. And I thought Carmella actually did pretty well here. Looked pretty strong in defeat. And Sasha Banks retaining was the right outcome. I do think we are going to get a rematch. I think we are going to get a rematch with Sasha Banks and Carmella, because there's really no credible person next up for Sasha Banks right now. I think they do the stuff with Bianca Belair at WrestleMania. I think that's the money match, but you're not going to do that now. You shouldn't do it that quick. So I think this program will continue. We may see it this week on SmackDown. We'll have to wait and see. But for the time being, Sasha Banks rightfully so retained the SmackDown Women's title. Next up was the WWE Raw Tag Team title match here. We had the New Day, that's Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, defending the titles against the Hurt Business, which comprised of Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin here. So this was the third encounter between the teams in several weeks here. And this was, I thought, one of the weakest matches on the entire show. It's stuff we've pretty much seen from these guys. There was really nothing new here. Back and forth action. The Hurt Business get the vast majority of the heat in the match here. They work over Xavier for a while. Kofi wound up getting the hot tag. He ran wild for a while. And we just get in the late in the match. Woods got taken out with, I believe it was a lumbar check, or no, it was pay dirt. Xavier Woods got taken out with pay dirt by Shelton Benjamin. Shelton Benjamin had the match won. Cedric did the blind tag. He tagged himself in, and he actually hit the lumbar check on Kofi Kingston. And at 9 minutes and 53 seconds, the Hurt Business, Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin are the new Raw Tag Team champions, as I predicted they would be. There was no way they were going to lose 3 times in a row to the New Day here. They had to do the title change here, and that's exactly what they did here. Really nothing special about the match. I gave it a D+. What I expect is going to happen here is that Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods are going to get a rematch, because they're going to keep this program going, because they really have no other tag teams on Monday Night Raw. It looks like they may be eventually doing the stuff with Matt Riddle and Jeff Hardy, so they're going to form the Hardy Bros. I think that's what they're going to be doing, but I do expect another match or two between the Hurt Business and New Day. The New Day are going to want their rematch here, so that's going to be coming up. Now, I did see the tweet from Kofi Kingston after the fact that he lost a couple of teeth in the match. He posted a picture of this on Twitter, and yikes. So credit to Kofi Kingston for gunning it out, and yeah, that type of thing can happen there. But yeah, this was exactly what I figured it was. There was really nothing special about the match here, and this was exactly the outcome I figured we were getting here. So Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin, the Hurt Business, are the new WWE Raw Tag Team Champions. Next up was the WWE Women's Tag Team title match. We had Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler defending the titles against Asuka and a mystery partner. They had done a backstage skit earlier when Billie Kay came up. She had her 8x10 again with her accolades and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, we knew it wasn't going to be Billie Kay Billy Kay, I don't even know why they did this skit here. We all knew who it was going to be, and of course it was confirmed in a report prior to the show. But everyone had pretty much already assumed who it was going to be. This was an absolute surprise to nobody. The mystery person turned out to be the returning Charlotte Flair, as I had predicted on my preview and predictions for WWE TLC on the podcast last week. So this was a surprise to no one. I think pretty much everyone assumed it was going to be returning Charlotte Flair, because if you had paid attention to her social media, especially on both Instagram and Twitter, you can see that she was training and getting ready to come back. So this was not a big surprise. And also you have to remember that Nia Jax was the one that took out Charlotte Flair so she could take time off to have the elective surgery to fix the issue that she was having there, and also to do some acting stuff that she's been doing as of late as well. So it made sense for it to be Charlotte Flair here. She was the mystery partner, to the absolute shock of no one. It's basic back and forth action. The heels work over Asuka for a while. Charlotte ultimately does get the hot tag. She comes in. She does hit one of her moonsaults. It was not very good looking. She landed on her feet again, so she overcompensated yet again. That's something she does a lot, and she didn't really correct it here either. Ultimately, Asuka was able to take out Nia Jax on the outside with the hip check. And ultimately, at the end, we saw Charlotte had gotten Shayna Baszler into the figure four, bridged it up into a figure eight. Nia Jax was able to pull her out. That's what led to Asuka hitting the hip check on Nia Jax. And ultimately, Charlotte Flair hit natural selection on Shayna Baszler, and at 10 minutes, Charlotte Flair pinned Shayna Baszler, and we have new WWE Women's Tag Team Champions in Asuka and Charlotte Flair. This was exactly what I predicted. I think a lot of people have predicted it well, because once we found out Charlotte was the mystery person, and I'm using that in air quotes, I think everyone knew the title was switching hands here, and that's exactly what they did here. This was done nothing more to give Charlotte another title that she had not had yet. She had not been one member of the Women's Tag Team Champions yet, but now she's held every possible title that she can have as a female in WWE. So that's what they did here. They just padded her stats, and this was not a surprise here. I gave the match a C-. I didn't think this was anything special here. Now, yes, Asuka and Charlotte did hug and embrace afterwards, but clearly we are getting a program between Asuka and Charlotte Flair for the Raw Women's title here, because I can't even remember the last time the Raw Women's title was actually defended here. Asuka's been holding the title, and there's nobody for her to face. Now that Charlotte's back, I think clearly that's where we're going down the line. It's not going to happen just yet, but I do see it coming. That could possibly be the WrestleMania match with Asuka and Charlotte Flair for the Raw Women's title, unless either they can get Ronda Rousey back in the fold or Becky Lynch, one or the other, but I think that's where they may be going at this point. So in 10 minutes, we have new Women's Tag Team Champions. I gave the match a C-. Next up was the WWE Universal title match. This was the second of the two TLC matches here. Roman Reigns with Paul Heyman taking on Kevin Owens. This shocked me that this was not in the main event. This is the match that should have been in the main event. Kevin Owens jumped Roman Reigns before the bell. He got some early offense. He's working over Roman initially. Jey Uso does come out here. This, of course, with it being a TLC match here, there's no countouts, disqualifications, or any of that. So Jey Uso came out to get involved. They both work over Kevin Owens for the bulk of the time here. Kevin Owens was able to fight back, hitting stunners and super kicks and all that. At one point, Kevin Owens had buried Jey Uso on the outside once they did a table spot that broke the table. And ultimately, we just get late in the match here. Both guys are working their way up the ladder, but ultimately Roman Reigns catches Kevin Owens into the guillotine and pretty much chokes him out, and Kevin Owens falls backwards. Down, he's not able to recover, and in 24 minutes and 47 seconds, Roman Reigns grabbed the belts, and he is still the WWE Universal Champion, as all of us expected here. This was not a big surprise. This was a great match. This was the match of the night here. You could definitely see as the match was going on the Paul Heyman influence in the match, so I'm sure he was involved in the booking of this match. You could tell because this was outstanding stuff here. I was expecting maybe Jimmy Uso to return here. We did not see him yet. I do think he plays a factor at the Royal Rumble. But yeah, just great stuff here. Roman retaining was the right outcome, was the right decision. But yeah, Kevin Owens was made to look great here, and credit to him for really putting in the work, and Roman Reigns as well here. Great stuff. I gave this an A-. This was easily the best match on the entire show here. You could see the Paul Heyman influence, like I mentioned. Just good stuff here overall, but the right outcome here with Roman Reigns retaining. In the main event spot was the Firefly Inferno match. We had The Fiend Bray Wyatt taking on Randy Orton. There was no Alexa Bliss here. We never saw her. I don't know if she was just backstage or she was still out in California filming. That's supposedly been where she's been at here recently. So the object of the match here was to have the flames touch any part of the opponent's body. Doesn't matter. We saw the Fiend wearing his coat here, and we saw we saw Randy Orton rather wearing long sleeve. He had a hoodie on and sweatpants or whatever it was. But yeah. So Alexa Bliss did not come out here, and you know what? I will say the visual of the fire around the barricades, I thought I looked great here. The match itself here was very boring, though. This was easily the worst match on the entire show. We know why they obviously closed with this match here on TLC on the show, but this was a very boring match here. Both guys fought outside the bulk of the time, each teasing sending the other into the fire. Orton got caught into a mandible claw late in the match here. He was able to reverse that mandible claw and actually set Bray Wyatt into the fire. So that happened at 12 minutes and 42 seconds. That won the match for Orton. There was never a bell, by the way. Never heard a bell ring, at least not that I'm aware of. And then what they did next here, once Wyatt had touched the fire, Orton had done his deal. He had gotten Bray Wyatt back into the ring. And what they did next here, because once they got Wyatt back into the ring, they cut away from the ring for quite a while here, and it was obvious what they were doing here. Once we came back, we saw what they wanted us to believe was Bray Wyatt laid out in the middle of the ring. We see Randy Orton go out to get this gasoline can. He brings it in. He dumps the gasoline on what was believed to be Bray Wyatt, and then he lights it on fire here. Clearly, it was a dummy in the ring. I did post a picture on my Twitter page that clearly shows there was an angle that they showed that it was clearly a dummy here. It was not the real Bray Wyatt. And it lit on fire, and that's how they went off the air. You know, the announcers really tried to play it up like that the Fiend was being burned alive, but clearly it was a dummy. I think all of us figured that out. And that was it. So I gave the match a D-. I barely avoided an F here. Now, I did see the tweet from WrestleVotes afterwards, basically pretty much confirming what I was thinking as well, that this match was taped. This was a pre-recorded match. They had taped it in the afternoon on Sunday before the events. And the WrestleVotes was also claiming that this match was not initially penciled to be in the main event spot, but they decided to go with it. And look, for the obvious reason, but this should not have been in the main event. I'm sorry. So pretty much confirming kind of what was going through my mind as I was watching this match. It seemed like it was taped, and if you were kind of paying attention, you can kind of spot the clues for that as well. So that's what happened here, and we had a dummy get lit on fire. So that's why they closed the show with that. Randy Orton got the win, as I predicted he would. I think a lot of people thought that the Fiend was going to win this one, but I actually predicted Randy Orton because he needed to get a win here. The Fiend Bray Wyatt, I mean, the act is pretty much dead as it is anyways, and we'll see what happens. I know he did put out a tweet later on after the pay-per-view events, so clearly we've not seen the last of the Fiend. We'll see where it goes from that, but that was it. That's how they closed the show here, so that was TLC. Now, my overall final grade for WWE TLC 2020 is a B-. I will say that this show did better than I thought it was going to. There were more decent to good matches than there were bad matches on the show. I will say they actually did better than I thought. Obviously, the Universal title match with Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens was the best thing on the entire show. I thought the Drew McIntyre AJ Styles TLC match was very good as well. I thought Sasha and Carmella had a very good match, and really, that was it. I thought the rest of the stuff was very mediocre or not very good. So, but I thought that stuff was good enough here. It was enjoyable enough. So I gave it a B-. That is my official grade for WWE TLC 2020. Let me know down in the comments section below what your favorite moment was and if you agree with my grade. And we'll see you the next time with the next review here on YouTube. Bye for now, everyone.